Hello, everyone. I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson University Office of Public Relations, and this is The View from the Hill, the podcast of Lindsey Wilson University. Every week during the academic year, The View from the Hill features conversations with some of the people who help create the dynamic living learning environment that serves the educational needs of every Lindsey Wilson student every day. In this 26th podcast of the 2025-2026 school year, we will talk about Lindsey Wilson's two new majors that will be coming online in the 2026-2027 school year, Agribusiness and Sport Performance. Lindsey Wilson University recently announced that it was adding two undergraduate majors, both beginning in the 2026-2027 school year. The two majors are Agribusiness and Sport Performance, and although they might appear to be very different majors, in a sense, they're very similar. They are both grounded in Lindsey Wilson's strong liberal arts education. They are both the product of market research, and they are both focused on preparing students for careers in rapidly growing segments of the economy. For example, the U.S. ag economy contributed more than $1.5 trillion to the U.S. gross domestic product in 2023, according to data from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. And the global sports industry is nothing short of an economic behemoth. According to a study released in January by the World Economic Forum, the global sports industry is projected to expand from $2.3 trillion annually to $8.8 trillion by 2050. Joining me to discuss these two majors are two of the driving forces behind their creation: Assistant Vice President for Student Success and Academic Growth, Eric Carter. He helped create the Sport Performance major. And Dean of Lindsey Wilson School of Business and Communication, Benson Sexton. He led the charge in creating Lindsey Wilson's new major in agribusiness. Eric, let's start with you. Lindsey Wilson is the first college or university in Kentucky to start a sport performance major, and only the second school in the country to do so. For those who are unfamiliar with sport performance, tell us a little about the major, what it's about, and why was it started at Lindsey Wilson?
Sure. Thanks, Dwayne, for having me. This is really exciting major. Like you said, it's the first one in Kentucky and the second one in the country. And I think the motivation behind this for Lindsey Wilson, as I see it, is last fall we had 810 student athletes with about 1,200 students on our main campus. So obviously we have a huge cohort of students who are interested in sport and sport-related industry and just being a part of the thing, sport. And so that was really a driving force. And it's a little deeper than that for me as well. Like I really want to think about this in the sense of how do we break down silos for student athletes? Oftentimes the student and the athlete are separate in the academy. And so there's a lot of role conflict that we create by these silos. And so a lot of the motivation behind this major was to validate the athlete part of the student athlete. And one way to do that is to create a program that allows them to get academic credit for some of their sport participation and competition. So the program was created with 12 credit hours that they will receive for actually playing sport, for competition, for travel, for film study, for anything that's happening while they're on their competitive team. So it's a really exciting opportunity for them to engage their academic journey in a discipline that is relevant, that is experiential, and that I think we're starting to see some literature that this could be a high impact practice as well. So a good retention tool as well. So a lot of motivation because of our student population and their needs. But also this is an emerging major. I think it's going to get traction across the country. And it's great to be out on the forefront, to be a little bit entrepreneurial.
Benson Agribusiness is a major that might be more familiar to more people, but this new major at Lindsey Wilson is not just your run-of-the-mill agribusiness major. There's a lot more to this major that makes it unique. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's correct, Dwayne. We are so excited about agribusiness at Lindsey Wilson University. when we developed the program, we were thinking, what kind of program would be a rural serving program? It's not just about Lindsey Wilson, it's about the region that we're situated in. And we are right in the heart of Kentucky, right where agriculture is prominent. And so we have developed a program that's designed to bring the world of business and agriculture together to help prepare students for careers such as crop insurance, agricultural lending, equipment sales, supply chain management, grant writing, and so on. One of the things that really distinguishes the program that we've built is what I just mentioned, and that's grant writing. Our students will work alongside faculty who will teach them how to write grants. And we know that a major part of the agricultural world today is understanding how to pursue grants and how to write grants. And so that's going to give our students a one-up as they come through this program.
You all both did a lot of research in terms of what this major needs, how it needs to be unique. Talk a little bit, Benson, about all the work you did, the folks you talked to, not only in the industry, but in high schools as well, about what would be the ideal agribusiness major in South Central Kentucky.
Absolutely. So in the fall of 2025, I worked with regional ag teachers in the high schools, and I asked if we could survey their students. And so we surveyed nearly 500 high school students, and we asked them questions about what are you looking for in a degree after college? How can we help prepare you for the careers that you want? And in response to that, we were able to help to design a program that we didn't just think students needed, but one that they were also telling us that they needed. And so we're going to be able to give them the kind of program, the kind of education that they want in order to be able to stay at home, to work at home, to serve the communities that they're in, and to give them career paths that a lot of times students or people might not even know exist in the world of agriculture.
Eric, you're part of a national movement to get people to think about sport performance and to break down these silos that you talked about. Talk a little bit about this national movement that's emerged, that's resulted in the sport performance major at Lindsey Wilson and one other school in the country.
Sure. About a year ago, I met a guy named Lou Matz, who's at Pacific, and Lou had written a couple pieces on the educational value of sport as a liberal art. And so we struck up a conversation. A little bit later, there was another group of academics who believed in this mission, this goal, and we created what we call the Sport Major Collective. So it's a group of faculty and staff who have really put a lot of heart into kind of pushing for this major across the country. David Hollander, who wrote the book How Basketball Can Save the World, was a founding member of this, along with Lou and Arian Waite from UNC Chapel Hill. And so we've all kind of really just put our brains together. There's been some collective research that's happened from the group, surveys similar to what Benson mentioned for agribusiness at Pacific, at Chapel Hill, at NYU. And all of those have come back with overwhelming support for a major like this. Even at Lindsey, a year ago, I did a series of focus groups with our students, and that again was an overwhelming response of we'd love to have this opportunity. And even students who said, I'm still probably going to be a business major, but I'd love to take some of those courses. I think it would really enhance my degree program and just the transferable skills that they can take away from this program, and those courses are going to set them up for all kinds of opportunities in the labor market. But it's been a really fascinating run. We've even gotten support from Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, who has publicly supported this movement. And we're working on some other initiatives that are going to kind of go alongside it. But a really exciting time to give our students the opportunity to engage in a program that they can engage through the lens of sport. So, and we've had overwhelming support from our faculty at Lindsey too, of creating courses for the major. Our English faculty created sports stories. Mark over in physics created research methods for sport performance. So we've just had a lot of great collaboration. And I really think this is just a fantastic opportunity to change the narrative of what sport can do in higher ed, and how important it really is if we validate it, if we really talk about it as that there's true educational value in that, and that movement is what's really pushing that narrative.
Benson, there was a lot of faculty support for the agribusiness major as well, not just sort of in the school that you're dean over, but throughout the university. It's a very broad-based degree. Talk a little bit about that and why that makes it so strong.
Absolutely. So I mentioned the English faculty earlier, and to have English faculty on board for an agribusiness degree, that is very unique. They are very excited to walk alongside students to explore that area of study. We also have collaboration with business and communication within our own school, but outside of our school, we have worked with the biology folks, and several of those courses are embedded in the curriculum, and then also sustainability and environmental sciences. That's going to be a key piece to the curriculum and to what we're doing, so we're working very closely with them. As we know that a major focus of agriculture in the world today is sustainability, it's in environmental sciences, and so that partnership, that collaboration is key.
You're listening to the Lindsey Wilson View from the Hill podcast. I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson Office of Public Relations. I'm talking to Lindsey Wilson Assistant Vice President for Student Success and Academic Growth, Eric Carter. He helped create the university's new major in sport performance, which goes online in 2026. 2027, also joining that major will be agribusiness, and that was created by Dean of Lindsey Wilson School of Business and Communication, Benson Sexton. Be sure to check out the post about both majors on Lindsey Wilson's Facebook and LinkedIn pages. That's where you can learn a lot more about each major. Now let's get back to my conversation with Eric and Benson. Eric, talk a little bit about career opportunities, career paths for folks who major in sport performance. What do you envision them doing when they grow up, so to speak?
Well, I think this is a question we get quite a bit as we started the process of trying to get buy-in for the major. Probably this is a top 2 or 3 question. What in the world are these student athletes going to do once they graduate? And I think we've tried to reframe the narrative around that, about the transferable skills that they're taking away from this liberal arts education and from the experiential education that they're getting from their participation, and taking that. And so they're not just participating, getting credit for sport. They're taking that back to the classroom. They're reflecting on it. They're having conversations. So this is something we feel like not only will help their performance, but this is going to help them grow academically, and it's going to put them in a position to do lots of things in the labor market. Obviously, the sport industry is enormous, as you mentioned at the top of the podcast. But the other thing we're trying to do is really create career pathways through this program. So there are certain organizations out there, one being the Shift Group, who I just met with in Boise, Idaho last week, who really, they take student athletes, they mentor them, right? And then they link them to employment. They work with 700 or 800 corporations who want student athletes, and they primarily recruit student athletes and veterans. And so cool things we're doing is we're going to partner with the Shift Group and potentially other groups, and we're going to be able to link our students with career choices, right, based on the skills, right, that they're acquiring through this major. And so it's going to be a really nice partnership. Obviously, we have a lot of students who want to coach and do things like that, and this will definitely set them up for a much more positive experience in that world. But again, this isn't about just creating sports jobs, right? A lot of our student athletes have aspirations to do all kinds of things. And so we want to make sure that we set them up in a space where we've got the right kind of mentorship and the right kind of pathways to get them to into the employment options that they're interested in. And I think, with these partnerships, we're going to be able to do that.
Benson, we mentioned that agriculture contributes over $1.5 trillion a year to the U.S. gross domestic product. Obviously, you have to have a lot of jobs out there to make that size of a contribution. Talk about really the plethora of career opportunities that are available to students who major in ag business.
We are very excited to offer an academic program that also prepares students to take that next step right into like a work-ready environment. I mentioned earlier grant writing. We think about job opportunities like farm management, crop insurance, agricultural lending, equipment sales, supply chain management. But we also think about some of the more modern type jobs like precision technology, precision agriculture, transportation and logistics, data collection using drones. I can't wait to get students in the classroom to get their hands on the drones and to be able to work on data collection and those kinds of things, but also field service technicians, farm-to-table business owners, rural development specialists, agricultural inspectors, credit analysis, and farm service agency positions. There's a wide range of opportunities right here in our region that students are going to be exposed to, and that they are going to have the credentials needed in order to step into those jobs.
And whether you live in a city or live in a rural setting, there are jobs that will appeal to you and that will match your interest and sort of lifestyle interest as well.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a broad range. It's not just limited to rural America or rural Kentucky. This program is going to equip students with the skills that they need in order to step right into those jobs, even in the urban areas.
What are you all most excited about in terms of starting this major that you've helped get off the ground here at Lindsey Wilson in the fall? Eric, what most excites you about having a sport performance major at Lindsey Wilson?
I think the most exciting thing is giving the students something that they're interested in, right? It's making their education relevant. It's validating the things that they find important, that they've devoted their whole lives to. A lot of our student athletes have been playing sport, since they were 5 or 6 years old. And so to be able to create a program that allows them to kind of keep moving in that direction, right? And I just think it's great for student engagement. I really think it's, one of the things we do really well at Lindsey Wilson, every student, every day, right, is we engage them. And so finding new ways to do that is really important to me, and again, figuring out ways to change the narrative about sport in higher ed as well. I think, oftentimes we live in the dumb jock syndrome world, and saying, that's not true. These student athletes are brilliant. Look at what they do with their bodies every day. Look how much time they put into this. Look at their commitment. So all of those values, that collaboration, those leadership skills, the teamwork, right, the conflict management, all of that stuff is happening in sport. And what if we take that and move it to the classroom where we can talk about it, where we can have some dialogue about it? That excites me. I mean, that's fun, really, really getting into it, and letting these student athletes feel like Lindsey Wilson is validating, again, my whole self. We want them to be successful academically, but we also care about what they care about. Right. And I think that means a lot when we say that to them. We care and we validate your whole self, the whole person that you bring here to Lindsey Wilson.
Benson, what about you? What excites you most about starting the agribusiness major at Lindsey Wilson?
Interestingly, I think that both of these programs complement each other very well, because as Eric talked about, giving students something they love, something they've done all their life, and with sport, we can also say that about agriculture as well. So many students have grown up in agricultural environments, and they love the land. They love the work. They love the business of agriculture, and so this gives students an opportunity to pursue something that specifically narrows in on what they love to do, where that they can also go back and contribute to their communities and on the land that they love. And so I find that energizing. I find that very exciting for the college or for the university. I really feel like that it opens a new gateway for us as well, to not just to have students to come to us, but for us to also be able to serve local communities, because we're going to partner with farmers. We're going to partner with agricultural enterprises. And so we're going to be rural serving as well. So we're going to be able to give back to the communities in many ways. And so I really look forward to that. And then also we have a lot of students, and we learned this through the survey, a lot of students have the desire to pursue this type of degree, but rural institutions just are not offering this kind of agribusiness degree. And so in order to pursue it, students historically have had to move away from home to larger areas. Oftentimes they're not comfortable moving to those areas. So now we're giving students an opportunity to study agribusiness right in the heart of the land that they love.
That's Benson Sexton. He's Dean of the School of Business and Communication at Lindsey Wilson. He's also the person behind the creation of the new major in agribusiness, which comes online in 2026, 2027. You also heard from Eric Carter. He's Assistant Vice President for Student Success and Academic Growth, and he's the person behind the creation of the Sport Performance major at Lindsey Wilson that also comes online in 2026, 2027. Two new exciting majors coming to Lindsey Wilson in the fall of 2026. And that's going to do it for this 26th edition of The View from the Hill for the 2025-2026 school year. You can tell us what you like or what you don't like about this podcast by firing off an email to us at news@lindsey.edu. Be sure to put podcast in the subject line. Also be sure to encourage your friends, coworkers, family members, associates, and neighbors to subscribe to A View from the Hill. They can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on the university's YouTube channel. View from the Hill is produced by Shelby Burton. She's Lindsey Wilson's Assistant Director of Public Relations and Media Producer. And until our next edition, I'm Dwayne Bonifer in the Lindsey Wilson University Office of Public Relations. Thanks so much for listening. So long, everybody, and have a nice day.